Hi there again, people. I haven't done any invent or whatever, no work or videos for a while. As you know, I go with depression, like I have done for many years now. And as you know, since I always saying that I'm a scapegoat in at the home, well, okay, there's nothing I can't say anymore except to say few things. And why I haven't talked about my story for, well, never in this case, because I felt I need a little time. And yeah, there's a lot of things to talk about, and yeah, but I will take it when it's time anyway, when I feel so. I can't randomly talk about that whenever I hold hands just because it feels so important. No, of course not. This is about my pain, as I have felt for many years since I was a kid. Even if I don't want to talk about that, doesn't mean I want to share with you. What I'm saying is, I rather share when I feel for it. But I can talk about few things anyway. What I have going through since I was a kid. Or should I say, maybe I can wait with that and take what's happening in the past for a few years. Okay, I can tell little about myself. As you know, I grew up at home, in a narcissistic home. I didn't have any easy life. And as you know, sometimes you have to make different and understand between love and race. But in the same time, love can be connection with race. When I say race, I mean raising a child, for example. But it's not so easy as it sounds. As you know, even if you can, as a parent, saying, I raising you with love, yet you don't feel love. But that depends, since there's difficult children how they define love and race. I mean, as a child myself, I didn't expect to get something, to get love. No. What I only demanding was at least be cared and so on. But with all this kind of thing, as I thought was actually love, wasn't exactly a love. Perhaps love from one person, but only raised by one person. Or should I say, I was raised by two persons, but I was loved by one person. That's how it goes. As a kid, I was already learned that some things can still be done, even if that means we all living in hell, meaning the society is hellish. Whatever you're going through is something you're going to live with the rest of your life. Even when you do something as you didn't expect to do. I had a tough childhood. I tried to do my best to, both live in it and be a part of it. But it has never been easy. As a child, I didn't exactly have a great time in school. Instead, I was actually facing with some teachers who were furious. Well, okay, only one of them, of course, not all of them. And as a kid, I remember only few things. First class was okay, no problem. Anything was okay for 1 year. But second, third, fourth, it was really hellish for me. And especially with some people who have the nerve to talk about someone's life without to understand what exactly do you live with. Well, I wasn't exactly that kid you could watch and say, oh God, he's so cute. No, of course not. I was more like the one who didn't look so great in my face for otherwise. But I'm still proud of it, even if I am not exactly some hottie hunk or whatever. I don't care. I don't care about how looks is. But I can tell you, all this fucking shenanigan that people always talking about, where you have to look so special on something, and then they start to complain about, oh yeah, you look like a nerd for something. First of all, before you calling me nerd, just watch what I'm doing. But that didn't matter for them. What matters was, are you a player or something? No. But one thing was sure, I loved sport. Not all of it, but some of it. As you know, as a kid, I was always had my dream to play basketball for many times. By my area, there were no basketball club at all. It took time to get to the sport I wanted. But instead, I had family members who played football on other hands. If you don't mind, they played soccer. Well, it's not so simple. However, I, on other hands, wasn't the greatest in the family. I was more like the guy who brings shame in the family kind of type. But you will imagine how it is in the narcissistic home. That's exactly what I'm living in. Hell. So I've always heard how stupid I am and all of this thing people talking about how stupid I am. So that was the part one that my own mother needed me to dress like a real materialistic boy for many years, and I always believed that new clothes and anything like that is something I should actually go for to look so beautiful and have a respect. Of course, my mother got a lot of respect for all those years by others. But it was really hard to follow everything, every move, everything. But talking about the same thing all the time. Yeah. And that was the part of whatever few people have the stomach to talk about. Cash all the time. Because materialism was actually known in my childhood. And it had never been easy to fit in a crowd for some time. Some people had nerve to bully others because of whatever they belong to, whatever class they share, what kind of grade or whatever. There were a lot of things. Even some nerds were bullies too, of course. There's no lie about that. I mean, I wasn't that kind of kid. I was that kind of kid who wanted to be tough and be respected as a kid. But I didn't have an easy time that day. And even if I wanted to be with my classmate, of course, there were no problem to fit in that kind of thing. But it was really hard when it came to my own teacher who didn't have any much attention except for one thing. How much does she tolerate me? Whenever I do something that seems to be more ridiculous than ever, of course she's going to blow up and be angry, of course. And I lived with that kind of emotional abuse long time ago. I didn't have any easy time as a kid. And every time my mother always yelled at me when I come to school come home from school. I was always report. But here's the thing. What exactly am I reporting for? The only thing I can remember is that one time I came late, of course, in from the gym. I was supposed to be in class 1 o'clock, but I came 5 minutes late. No, wait, 25 minutes late because I was forced to stay to clean up in the hall whatever we took out. Sometimes I would actually have in my mind maybe I should not go to the gym after the lunch. But I didn't. I just had that mind that I needed, of course, to be somewhere. Second of all, I remember one thing when we got the new classmate in the school. I was actually sitting beside of one of my classmates I used to talk to. We were talking and saying, okay, I was whispering with my friend beside me that day, and we were asking each other for some times, and later my teacher started to talk about doing some game, of course. And I, on the other hand, was joking by saying to my friend, you go first. And we were a little more like polite to each other. As you know, you are a gentleman, you want to ask somebody to do something. And of course, that's natural, no problem. But instead, my teacher, on the other hand, freaked out as usual. I was surprised. How in the earth could someone like, well, okay, I shouldn't say she's the only one, but there's a lot of people. But I couldn't understand what was about to freak out, even if I just make a joke by telling the person, you go first, you go first. But instead, she had in her mind that I, on the other hand, asked it first. More like I wanted to do it first. For many years, as I remember, I have been out-yelled. Of course, for some reason, I can feel like whatever I do, she could feel offended, even if I never do it something against her. Meaning, I can't understand how a person can flip out for something that seems to be more ridiculous so long I'm not the bad kid who actually would break any rules. I mean, I remember I was only 8 years. And even as a child, no matter how many times you make a joke, I remember when we were supposed to go to the supermarket in the center, my teacher told me to be quiet while everybody could run around and sometimes be loud, louder than what I was. I didn't have any great time myself. And when we would come back, it was same thing. I going last. Oh, yes, because I'd run because we were supposed, well, we were invited on by other classmates because uh, the other classmate was actually they made a dessert and we were invited to eat with them, of course. And as usual, as many kids used to do, run because they wanted to be first. But I was told by the teacher I going to the last. So yeah, for some reason I felt like okay. Of course, inside I cried myself, of course. Well, not out loud, but I was sad, of course. I didn't have any easy time at all. Even if I tried my best, of course, it was really hard to actually dealt with all this kind of thing. As you have to be more careful when it comes to the teacher. Never be loud, never do something as the person will never tolerate. But that was actually new for me because she have never freaked out early when I was only 7 years. And I haven't done anything wrong. But now when I was 8, she kind of freaking out more like she type doesn't tolerate me for otherwise. It's more like you can think about bullies or some people who have the nerve to say something the person they doesn't like. When I say person, I mean as a person. For example, we can say if you were an employee, of course you're going to have a rival. Rival on the other hand is always checking up on otherwise and saying, hey, you're new here, right? Yeah, why? I am the one who have worked hard here in this building, so you have to do exactly what I'm saying. The point is that this employee who have been there longer than the new one, or maybe watching by thinking this person is a threat. But that's not exactly what I meant. What I mean is, you may not see that person as a threat, but you may see that person in the way you doesn't tolerate that person. Perhaps this person is goofy, or this person is maybe too nice, or that person maybe are something as you don't like from otherwise, no matter how positive it just is. I can tell you, I didn't have any easy time when I was a kid. But I didn't fight. I didn't fight against my own teacher either. I was only quiet. Sometimes I could cry. Of course, it was normal. I didn't have any easy time at all. So for some reason, even if I never thought I was a scapegoat in the class, of course I was. When I start to realize what I had been for many years. Alright, that was part 1. The part two will be something else. but I will continue to talk about my class. Anyway, I'm very glad that each and any of you got a little part of myself, and I will keep continue. And it's not only one part, it will maybe be more parts on other hands that you maybe will know me for a while, which I don't know exactly. And for you who maybe think that I'm just a ridiculous kid or some guy on other hands hiding myself and didn't have any great time, whatever you maybe are going through, okay, I'm sorry. I can't help it. But I'm just sharing my part of myself. So it's up to you if you want to talk about it. Alright, no problem. Anyway, that's all I got. Have a nice day. Bye.